everybody, and welcome to the inaugural video of my YouTube channel. This video is also first in a series that I'm going to be doing analyzing the K-pop debut of Red Velvet's Seulgi and her song 28 Reasons. To understand 28 Reasons, you need to understand some K-pop lingo. So, welcome to the marvelous world of K-pop lingo. Step number 1. Positions. A position is an assigned specialty or unique skill that a member has in their K-pop group. These roles can tell us more about how these members act on-screen and off-screen. Knowing the positions can help you as a viewer understand a little more closely why line distributions and scenes are shot the way they are. Position 1. Leader. Leader is a standard position in K-pop groups but is not required. And none of these are required, to be honest. A lot of modern groups don't have positions, period. But it is standard of K-pop groups to have them at this point in time. And Red Velvet does have them, so it will help you understand my series. The leader of the K-pop group is elected by the members, sometimes assigned by the company, and takes into account the members' overall demeanor, their time training, or their age. Respect and seniority are highly ingrained in Korean culture, which is why the training period, length of time, and the people's age matter when picking the leader. An example of a K-pop leader that is not the oldest of the group is Jihyo of Twice. She has the longest training period of all of the members of Twice and was chosen as the leader due to her years of experience. The second tier of positions. These would be your vocalists, rappers, and dancers. I think those words are kind of self-explanatory, but what is important to know is that a main person is more skilled and has different roles than a lead person. For example, a lead vocalist may get opportunities to have more difficult vocal parts or standout vocal parts, but a main vocalist will sit in the studio while recording the new song to aid the other members, coach other members, may have more opportunities for ad-libbing in the backing vocals of a track, and most likely will have the killing part of the song. Not always the case, but you can expect a main vocalist to be singing that glorious climactic high note. This dynamic applies to rappers and dancers as well. The only thing you need to know is that there's no such thing as a sub-dancer. You can have a sub-vocalist and a sub-rapper. If someone is typically singing, but every once in a while on a track they'll pop out a rap, that would be a sub-rapper. Sub as in substitute. But the usual K-pop dynamic is all of the members are dancing on stage. So you really can't have a sub-dancer. They're all dancing. A good example of this dynamic would be the 17 performance unit. 17 splits their groups into 3 units. They have their vocal unit, their performance unit, which are the dancers, and the hip-hop unit, which are the rappers. This is useful for us because we're really easy to see the divide in how they take on those roles and how they're realized. Hoshi is the main dancer of 17 and just so happens to be a leader of this subunit. For our purposes, he's the main dancer, and Hoshi spends a lot of his time making his own choreographies, coaching the members in dance practices for their upcoming releases. Overall, a very skilled dancer and leader. Our third tier. The center, the visual, and the face of the group. Let's start with visual because this position impacts the other two. A visual is assigned to a member who most adheres to Korean beauty standard. I will put a link in the description, but I will read you a short compiled list of what the beauty standard in Korea looks like. Big eyes, double eyelids, fatty deposits just under the lower waterline, a slim figure, pale skin, gentle V-shaped jaw, small and slender nose, and straight eyebrows. The visual typically will take on a calm and cool demeanor, very collected, sometimes quiet demeanor, because the highlight of this member for the group is that they follow the beauty standard. Again, not always the case, but typically. Because this person follows the beauty standard and is generally considered very attractive, they end up at the center of the stage, in the front of choreographies, and on their social media. Center is another position in K-pop, though. The term center is in reference to where they typically are found in choreography, where they are in place for when they stand for pictures, who is on the front of the social media platforms, what do the concept photos look like, various things, they are standing front and center. Choosing a center is less cut and dry than choosing a visual, but this person is typically conventionally attractive, or maybe they're the most well-known member for some sort of reason. Maybe they have a main position. Maybe they are commonly on variety shows. Whatever the case may be, they've been chosen to be at the front and center of advertising. Don't get me wrong, visual and center are not always the same person. In fact, a great example of how a center functions is in ITZY. The visual is Yuna, but Ryujin is their center, and Ryujin in their wannabe era is wearing this beautiful dark blue velvet top that stands out among the rest of the members of the group. They're wearing black and white monochrome while she is wearing this dark blue, and because it's dark blue, it doesn't jump out at you as crazy different, but she does have a small pop that makes her more visual to people admiring the dance, and she just looks great in the middle with that pop of color. You may recall I just said maybe they're the most liked member of the group. Well, that is where face of the group comes in. The face of the group position is somebody whose job is to bring attention to the group through means other than music. These members have some sort of charm or skill that they can exercise and flaunt off to the public in variety shows. A good example is being really skilled at doing interviews. Maybe they're an MC for some sort of music show. Maybe they're super funny and like to do variety shows. Maybe they're a great actor and do a lot of acting. These members, because they are the most public-facing member of the group, often tend to be the most liked, the most well-known, or just the member people think of when they think of the group. A good example of this also goes back to 17. Their member Seungkwan of their vocal unit is a fantastic singer. Woo! You need to go listen to Seungkwan sing. But he's also very outgoing and very charming, very silly. He's loud. He likes to have fun, and he's great on variety shows. And he does a great job of bringing new viewers to 17 through his extra 17 activities. Outside of 17 activities. That's the word. That's a good word. This is really evident right now because 17's unit Busoksoon, which has Seungkwan, Buseungkwan, in the unit is very popular right now. They have exploded. And part of that is due to how well-known Seungkwan is for being on variety shows. So you can see how those three can go hand in hand, but they are not necessarily the same person. Fourth, the maknae. Maknae is simply a Korean word that means the youngest. As we touched on a little bit with leader, age is very significant in Korean culture, so having a maknae role makes a lot of sense. Being the youngest can imply that they're doted on, that they're cute or silly or naive, and sometimes the maknae of the group likes to play this up or go against the role by being more mischievous, more dark, maybe annoyed by the other members of the group just for show, having fun. Well, I guess I don't know that. Maybe they don't like each other. That's information I don't have. But I can tell you what it means on camera. Sort of. As a longtime K-pop fan, I can tell you what I know. I can tell you what I've observed. That's better. That is what I've observed. Woo! Positions. Done. Vocabulary. Number 5. I wrote this, not to brag, but it's a pretty good definition of what concept means in K-pop in an essay, so I'm just going to read it. In K-pop fandom culture, the term concept refers to a word or phrase that will summarize the aesthetic or sometimes implied story or plot of a group's release. The concept will influence all aspects of the group's public appearances related to the release in question. This includes, but is not limited to, live stage design, styling, music video choices, album cover art, and how the idols may carry themselves in the public eye. That was... Yeah, everybody clapped. Everybody clapped. Everybody's clapping. As you can see, there is a lot of wiggle room for how the term concept can be realized. Some people have concepts that carry over the tenure of their career. An example of this right now is ATEEZ. They have a concept where they are a rebellious group against a higher up sort of figure. I'm not super in-depth familiar with the ATEEZ lore, but I do know that the Holozia music video is very clear in showcasing the dystopian world in which ATEEZ exists and how they are a rebellious group fighting back. And that is a story that is carried throughout their videos that a new fan would need to go back and acquaint themselves with to fully grasp and understand the complete image of the concept. A second way this is realized is in a K-pop group called VIX, which is a second-generation boy group. They are known as the king of concepts throughout K-pop because their ideas change between releases. There isn't an overarching moral themed story, except for let's try new things, we can do it all because we're VIX. In one era, their song is called Chained Up. It's darker, there are chains, the subject material is clearly a little more mature. And then they have another song called Scentist, in which they are perfume scientists and they're creating scents. There's a tangible difference in color and staging and acting and costuming between the chained down heaviness and the perfume scents through the air vibes that they give off. I am not here to analyze The Scentist and Chained Up by VIX. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But not right now. But you get my point. 5. Oh, I'm on 6. 6? 6. Era. K-pop groups tend to actively promote their songs more intensely and for a longer duration than Western artists. That's how the term era emerged. I've got a list here again. It includes the obvious, such as music videos, live stages, radio and TV appearances, behind-the-scenes recording, and social media engagement. But they also have many, even unheard of, ways of promoting their albums that Western artists wouldn't do. A list of examples: fan call events, bonus fans activities, which I will give you an example of in a second, dance practice videos, performance versions of their music videos, and pop-up performances, otherwise known as busking on the streets. An example of one of these bonus fan activities would be Very Very's Very Cafe, where they had a cafe where fans could go and get a coffee, and Very Very was just there serving coffee. At these sorts of events and at different music stages, you can collect rare trading card things called photo cards that are essentially just selfies, but they are collectibles at the end of the day, and you go and you trade them, and it is a deep world of K-pop merch and K-pop events that I'm also not here to cover, but that gives you a taste. All of those aspects happen within the era. And K-pop companies are constantly thinking of new ways to make money off of people like me and new ways to promote their groups, so I'm sure that there are things that I didn't list just now that they are doing to keep the eras going. One way you'll hear this word used in my video is saying something like, Seulgi's hair was orange in the Russian roulette era, which it was orange, and orange and yellow are her representative colors. But just stick around to hear more about that. And there is your all-inclusive intro to K-pop terminology. And I hope now you feel prepared for some Seulgi fun. The next video will be talking about who is Seulgi, why Seulgi, pre-debut Seulgi, all things Seulgi. So come back, come chat about Seulgi, and get ready to talk about 28 Reasons, because we're getting there. Here she is, Miss Queen. Here she is. Everybody say, see you soon, Seulgi. Bye, Seulgi. Say bye to Seulgi. Slay. I did it.